Good day, folks. This is the desk-bound aviator, or Steve for short. Thought we'd take a ride today in one of my favorite aircraft, the epic EG1000. I call it that because it's the E1000, but it has the G1000 avionics system in it, so I just abbreviate it. An interesting flight we want to do up the St. Lawrence River. We're located here at CYUL Montreal International Airport over in the GA area of that airport. And we're going to fly up the St. Lawrence right over the house of a friend of mine who lives in a house along the St. Lawrence River. And we'll look at some pretty scenery along the way. And the other reason I'm doing this video is to discuss a new app that I downloaded from Navionics. Navionics, of course, has had a subscription service to their vast trove of Jepson charts for many years. But what they've just developed is an app that allows you to use those charts in an ingenious way with one major flaw. And I will show you both in a second. What you're looking at here is our route from Montreal up to Mont Jolie, a little airport along the shores of the St. Lawrence. And here's what I want to show you in this app. Up here you see a little flights icon. If I go to that, you will see a flight that I set up earlier just for demonstration purposes. And I'm going to tap on that. That's going from Montreal down to JFK. The pink portion of the line indicates your departure pattern out of Montreal, and the green portion indicates your arrival pattern or your arrival section of the flight into JFK. Now, one of the things you notice is we haven't established a star yet. We haven't chosen a star, so it's just a dotted line. Same thing's true up here in Montreal. First of all, if we expand this, we'll see a little expanded view of our route designations. And within this JFK area, you'll see arrivals and approaches. Approaches are runways. Arrivals are the patterns. If we tap that, you'll see a list of 6 different arrival patterns you can choose from. And the question has always been, when planning a route, which star should I pick? And the answer is to go through each of the approach plates separately, looking for an approach that you think might work with your particular route, coming from the direction you're coming. This makes it considerably easier, and here's what allows it. Show visual overview. If you click that, all of a sudden now you can see all of the possible approaches into JFK, exactly where they go, and from the termination or the transition of that approach into the runway. So we're going to, if we were to be landing going west on 26 or something like that at JFK, whatever the runways are, I don't even know. Well, we can tell. We can look at approaches here, and we can see we've got 0413, 04, we've got a lot of them, I'm sure. So if we were going to land going west, we might want to pick, say, ILS runway 22 right. And so we could pick that by choosing that. I'm not going to pick an approach, but I am going to pick an arrival. I would pick this arrival right here as opposed to this one. This one happens to be Pawling 2. Pawling happens to be the name of the town where I grew up, so I certainly like that approach, or that star. So I would pick Pawling 2, and I'm not sure what we do to activate that, but I guess what we do is add to route. So we add it to the route, and there it is. It's now a solid line, and once again, we can make that somehow disappear. It's now green because it's being in use. This, what you see over here, is the extremities of that route, Pawling 2. So we can go to arrivals, and we can delete that line. Now we've got our route set up. And you can do the same thing with the departure from Montreal. So that's really a neat feature. And here's your approach into runway 22. What isn't so neat about this is there's no way to save it. Yes, you can save it within the app. So if I want to go back to this route, I can save it and I can go back to it next Tuesday if I like to. But there's no way to save this as a file, or there's no way to copy it and paste it into SkyVector or even use it in XPlane without going up manually and copying each waypoint and each airway, if you will. And that can be pretty tedious. So to me, that's a major drawback in this application. Okay, so now that we've covered navionics, let's get back to our airplane. And we'll hop inside and get rid of all the chocks and so forth. Easy way to do that is just to tap this little icon up here on the panel and get rid of static elements, close the door, and then we can get rid of the panel. Now we want to go down to our instrument, or rather pre-start setup buttons, turn on some batteries, the avionics, we've already got the route already established, fuel pumps, and the starter gen. And then the next thing to do in the start process, we'll hit the start button and we'll wait until the NG reaches 9. Whoops. I don't know why that should be rising as it is now anyway, but okay, it seems to be settling back down. Might be a remnant from an earlier attempt at doing this. So while I'm up here, I'm just going to go into this inset and I'm going to declutter it. And I'm going to turn it black. And I'll do the same thing over here on our other chart. And flight plan is already there up to our destination of Mont Jolie. Okay. So we'll come back here, we'll press the start key, start button, and you see the NG start to rise. When it reaches 9%, then we can turn on the igniter. And I just did that, and then when it reaches 15%, we're going to kind of raise the condition lever up to the idle position, which I just did with my yoke. And that all gets our engines started. There we go. Doors are closed, chocks are gone. Ready to roll. Let's see where we're going here. I'm just going to hop outside and zoom up a little bit. And we're going to be departing from runway 24 left, so we don't have very far to go. We're just going to taxi over here and take off toward the west and bank around and make our way toward our first waypoint. Okay, so altitude is set at 5,000. I'm going to set the climb rate at 1,000. Barrow is all set at 2962 rather. Flaps one notch down. Door is sealed. Let's go ahead down here and we can turn on some other switches. Standby alternator, fuel auto select, pusher, autopilot, trim, and pressure. We're not going to be flying very high, so we don't need to be concerned about oxygen, nor do we need concern for icing because we're going to be low. We'll put the taxi light on, strobe, we haven't got far to go, so we'll turn all those on. We might as well just turn all these switches on by default. TC has given us the go-ahead. up the condition lever to full.
On runway 24 left.
And we're looking for about 75, 80 knots for rotation speed. There we go. Gear up. Actually, like to go out. And now that we've cleared the runway area, we'll bring up the flaps. Do a slow bank over the St. Lawrence. This is an area that's very interesting that I actually flew this in a helicopter, in a real helicopter. Down on the mighty St. Lawrence. One thing that's interesting about this view is the farmlands. I just did a flight yesterday from Denver to Montreal and remarked to my friends that when you fly over Nebraska, it's the most astonishing view. As far as the eye can see from 40,000 feet is nothing but squares, geometric beyond belief. All six, looks like, well, let's see, 16-acre plots with roads on all four sides. And the 16 acres are divided into, well, maybe it's not 16 acres. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's just 4 acres. And each little square is an acre. And each 4-acre square is a road. It's really a weird landscape. But that's Nebraska. This is quite different. And here, there isn't a straight line anywhere. We were discussing this the other day, and I mentioned to Gilles, my friend, that in Quebec, I think they allowed the cows to determine the layout of the farms. And it's certainly random, but very pretty. So we're crossing a bit of land area here. We can take a look at X airports and get a better idea of where we are. Headed up here toward Quebec City. I'm not sure why there's a link to that particular spot. This boulder red line is our route, not our route line, it's actually a connection between our origin and destination. So I don't know what's causing this thing here. It's kind of a bug. So we've got a ways to go, and I will get back to you when there's something interesting to look at, more so than farmlands and fields. So we've got the Quebec Airport, located right in front of us here. Right there. Right over here, in about this area, right where that building is, right in there is a spot where you can take a helicopter ride. There's a beautiful hangar in there that they store all their helicopters in there. And from there, you can ride all around the city of Quebec, which is right there, with its famous Chateau Frontenac hotel, port area. They may even show that on this. I don't know if they would. It would be, I think probably that's it, right there behind that. Rather, oh, no. There it is, right there. That's the Chateau Frontenac. Exactly. Very famous old hotel, which I actually stayed in. My dad and I did a trip to Canada when I was young. These are the Plains of Abraham, famous area during the War of 1812. I forget who won that war. I think it was the French. And the river, it's interesting, when we were there at the hotel, we had a room that overlooked the river, and I think it was the British fleet was in town that day. A whole bunch of British warships. They weren't there to invade Quebec, though, unfortunately. And right up here, let's see if I can zoom in on it. You see this little cut into the water right here? That little cut is a waterfall, and we're going to pass right over it. That's Mont Jolie. It's a very interesting area. You can do all sorts of things there. You can walk across the waterfall on a path. You can also fly across it on a wire attached to a cable. You sit in a kind of a bucket seat and jump off, and you fly right across the chasm underneath the waterfall. It is interesting, to say the least. They don't really show the waterfall here. Right about in here. And it's, I think, the highest waterfall in North America, higher than Niagara Falls, or maybe the second highest. I forget the exact statistic. But if you talk to my friend Gilles, he'll tell you. Because I'm sure he knows all the statistics. He used to be a tour guide. St. Lawrence divides here. There's a big island in the middle of it. And you can see up in the distance, we're starting to get into some hills as we approach the area of the Laurentian mountain range. It's a beautiful section of eastern Quebec. Lots of skiing. Very interesting. So we'll motor along here on up our route to Mont Jolie. And if I spot anything interesting, I'll let you know. There you go. The Grande Dame of Canadian resort hotels. Manoir Richelieu. All right, let's see if we can avoid crashing here. So we are coming up here on the mouth of the Saguenay River. Probably one of the most beautiful rivers in North America in terms of scenic quality. And I can see the red roof of l'Hôtel Tadoussac. Very famous place and a very nice place to stay, which I did when I was 12 years old, I think, somewhere in that vicinity a few years ago. Right there at the mouth of the river, and there's a dock down there. You can see there's a ferry boat or something leaving the dock. And I remember walking down to the dock and watching the boats come and go. And it looks just like that. It's a broad, wide building with a cupola in the center. And this unmistakable red roof. L'Hôtel Tadoussac. All right, so now we need to continue our trip across the river as soon as I clear these hills. Okay, we have activated VPath, or indicated VPath on our screen here, because we are within a couple of seconds of our top of descent as we approach La Tech. And then we're going to be heading that way across the river. And as you can see, we are now descending and making our turn at the same time. Our descent rate will be about, let's see, target is 1300, requirement is 1500. We should be close enough with either. We can wait and put on the taxi lights when we land. Give ourselves some flaps. Slow down a little faster. Let's go ahead and drop the gear.
Approaching 2-4.
flaps. AP off.
200.
We need a little more airspeed. All right, here we go.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oops, sliding a little bit. There we go. All right. Over here, find a park spot.
Approaching 1-5.
Let's see. Let's not take the runway. We'll take the taxiway. That's a better way to do it. There we go. Interesting model. Goodness, what is that? Fascinating. Nice little helicopter over there too. All right, let's see. Where should we park? Why don't we go right up here to the door? All right, feather the there it is. We'll hop outside, take a look around the other side. All right, Mont Jolie. Now I have to give my friend Gilles a call and see if he'll come on over and maybe we can have a beer. So there you are. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that was fun for you. And if you have any questions about any of the items that I discussed, make sure you add that to the comments below. And I can give you links and let you know where to get things. So I will see you soon.